So, what are we playing today? Today, we're playing Course of Discovery, which is a deduction game by Off the Page Games. If I'm not mistaken, Off the Page Games, they tend to do games based on IPs, on graphic novels, hence the name, Off the Page, I would imagine. So, I only known about this game like a month ago. They had a Kickstarter, I'm not sure whether it was last year or not, or was earlier than that. And then suddenly I watched someone else play the game and I said, where have I been? So I went and tried to hunt the game, and luckily enough, I managed to get the deluxe version of the game, which has all the components which are deluxeified. So all this is wooden, all this is double layered, and all the other tokens that I have here, they're all wood, as well as coming with 4 expansions, which, if I'm not mistaken, they will start releasing in retail very soon. If not, a lot of them that probably already released. I think 2 of them they released already, and then this week the Maldonado expansion released. But this is how the game looks. This is the Ultimate Edition, which again I was lucky enough to get like a month ago. That was the last copy. And yeah, so what is this game about? This is a deduction game. It's a deduction survival game, I would say. The main mechanic, though, is deduction. So, I'm not going to go into a massive overview or an extremely detailed overview of how this game is played. I'm going to just give you a few snippets and then get into it, because the rules are fairly simple. So there's no point in spending quite a lot of time just trying to explain all the nook and crannies of the game while we could just be playing it. Why is this a deduction game? What's the deduction puzzle? What is all this about? So, the main sort of component in this game is the board. This board, at the beginning of the game, we've loaded up a map without looking what's underneath. And in that map, there are multiple icons behind these knobs that can be removed. So basically, in a turn, we're going to remove this action, and there are going to be all sorts of icons. The reference is here. I'll have this on my side, but I have also made it available just to put it there because I think it's going to be more comfortable and it doesn't have to be in view all the time. So basically, the map that I've introduced is very similar to this map. Obviously, this is just a sample map that you can find at BGG just to test how many things or how many icons can you guess. These icons follow different rules, and during the course of the game, we'll need to use these rules in order to try to find out where things that we need is or are. So, for example, in this map that I've just loaded up here, we can see there's wood on the right side. So basically, every wood will always be adjacent to water, and water will always be adjacent to wood. So that's one of the rules that we are going to be using during the course of the game. There's another rule about wood, which is there can only be one in a column and one per column and per row. So that's another rule. So there's all sorts of rules that I will be detailing as we play the game. But basically, that's what this map is hiding beneath. And let's say that is the puzzle. So basically, the main mechanic is to try to figure out where these resources are. Then, at the beginning, we choose a chapter. So the core box comes with chapter 1 and chapter 2. Chapter 1 is about minotaurs and killing minotaurs. Chapter 2 is about flora. So they have like different mechanics. Think about them as a variation on the puzzle. And that is what is great about it. Like, there are 6 different variations. 2 comes on the core box, and the other 6, the other 4, there are expansions, which I think is Insecta, Vameta, Maldonado, and Fog, and they change quite a bit the mechanics surrounding the puzzle. So that's one cool thing about this, that you just don't get like a single puzzle, but you get basically almost like a framework, and then you just choose those puzzles. In the core box, there's 20 maps, 10 from chapter 1, 10 for chapter 2. And then they have massive amounts of maps on the website that you can download. I think they come in packs. There's like $5 for about 10 or 18 maps. You can print them out and you just slide them in there. I'm playing a map that is not on the core box, but I'm just basically covering that part just so you don't know which map it is. Although you might be able to identify by this, but there could be multiple maps with the same sort of way of locating these forts or these symbols. So, other than that, there it is. So each chapter we're playing today, fauna. Fauna chapter is about, as I said, kill minotaurs. I'm going to pull up the reference. And the goal, obviously, it says quite clearly there, we have to find and kill minotaurs. The other ones are the action of the games. So how do we kill minotaurs? Well, in all this sort of area where all these icons are, there are going to be forts. These forts are going to allow us to draw these cards. So whenever we fulfill the requirements of these cards, then we can kill a minotaur in play. We'll see how they go into play soon enough. So that's about it. Basically, in a turn, we're going to get one of these knobs, we're going to look, and we're going to get all the activate the terrain behind it, which could be a resource like wood, mud, food, or could be something like a tipi, which will allow us to trade different resources. And that's how I'm, as far as I'm going to go with the explanation. So we're going to almost dive straight into it, but not before explaining the challenges. So we have a board. Here we're going to place all the resources that we're getting on our backpack. And I'll explain what fatigue is later on, but basically this is the resources in your possession and the ones that we can use throughout the game. The game has a set of rounds, which are marked by time. Each day is composed of 3 challenges. Challenge 1 is that the first one is always the same, and then the other ones are randomized. Throughout the game, apart from obviously having to locate all the forts in this map, we will have to try to survive. Hence, that's why a survival game. In order to do that, we are going to have to resolve different challenges. A challenge card has like the requirement, in this case, spend 1 wood, and it has a pass effect or a fail effect. In this case, the pass effect is get 1 food, the fail effect is get 1 food, but discard 1 water. So there's going to be multiple of these cards happening during our playthrough, and they're going to be the main way that we could fail. If at some point we lose water, such as we cannot spend enough water to pay for one of these cards, or at the end of the day we don't have any food, then we automatically lose. So that's the gist of it, and this is one of the things I like about this game quite a lot, is that it offers a certain degree of variability, because these challenge cards are randomly selected except the first one, meaning that how you start a map is going to be determined on what you need on the first few challenges. Also, those challenges you can choose to fail, just in case we need to keep resources for other things like killing minotaurs, or you can just pass and get the benefit from it. Also, at the beginning, we choose a character. There are several characters. Some of these are from the expansions. So I got this one because it's not one of the most powerful ones, but I haven't played with her very often, but it could be useful in this map. So basically, we'll get to her ability later on, and then because I'm playing solo, we do choose 3 gear that we will use to either gain turns or gain extra resources, useful stuff throughout the game. Right, so we will finish up the setup. At the beginning, you set it up like this. You just slide the map in, put the knobs. There's a separator. There's like a white cardboard separator that you put them up so you don't see what the icons are. You slide it in, you place the knobs and take it out, and then you just choose your character, your gear, and lastly, we do a few more of the setup, which basically we're just going to shuffle this Destiny cards at the beginning of the game. We place 2 here. There's 2 slots in there, but I'm going to put them like this, so there's more space, and hopefully the layout is a bit more interesting. And then these Destiny cards, we are going to go through them throughout the game, or not, depends. Sometimes I play games that I didn't get almost any. Some of the times I got like 4 or 5. I'll leave them there so it's not on the wear. Again, we shuffle the kill minotaurs that we are going to need just to find the minotaurs. Although first we'll have to find them before killing them. And then we have threat cards, which are basically 4 minotaurs and 2 other threat cards that they're random from a pool of 8 cards. So these cards also, we're going to leave them on the side and we're not going to resolve anything. First, we have to find the minotaurs with threats, and then we need to find the forts. The order doesn't matter, we could find the forts and then the minotaurs, whatever. We'll try to do what we can here, really, to be fair. Right, so here it tells you the rules of the fauna map, which is goal, kill 3 minotaurs. The peak is E4, so we know where the stone is. A stone is always at E4. No, sorry, not always at E4. In this map, it's at E4, but that can change. And then our starting move has to be on the column 7. So basically, we can pick one of these and resolve the terrain underneath. Right, then we need to sort the challenge cards. So we will do a big shuffle. I've already done it, but I'm terribly bad at shuffling. I need to shuffle many times. Okay, that's it, done. And then we place 2 cards in here. And we'll leave them to the side because otherwise they'll be in the way. Right, so I did not explain the timer. Again, these challenge cards have a timer on the top right. Top right, that's the amount of moves or the amount of tokens that we're going to, or the amount of explorations that we are going to do before we need to resolve the card. So for the first card, we have 5 movements to find wood. The second one, 3, and we need to find mud, stone, and 2 water. We do start with 8 water, which seems a lot, but believe me, it isn't. We'll probably end up with not much water by the end of this. We will do 3, 2 at the end of these. In this case, we would have technically 10 turns. We'll need to have 1 food, which is always guaranteed by that first card. Doesn't matter whether you fail it or not. And then at the end, there's monsters coming and also other things. These cards, the Destiny cards, and your abilities and gear will obviously help you just increasing either the amount of resources that you get or decreasing the amount of turns that we take. Or increase, depends. Right, so for example, we have the compass. The compass allows us to, if you correctly guess the terrain you're about to explore, discard the path token, meaning that one of these tokens, rather than going into the challenge card, they will go out of play and it doesn't count against the timer. The flint, exhaust, build a fire for 1 stone or 1 wood, and we will place 1 fire here, which will allow to trigger certain effects from certain challenge cards, or will allow to backtrack, which I'll explain later. Then we have the Dozen Road, which is if you guess the terrain, you get that resource and an adjacent resource that it's been already uncovered before. So it's a bit tricky, this one, because you have to sort of set it up, but pretty cool. And her ability, which again, not the strongest, but is decent, especially in this map. When you explore, select an explore path 2 paths away. This comes, I think it's in the Insecta expansion, so it's the first released expansion, so you might not have that one. I think the Dowsing Rod also is from the expansion. So this gear you selected is not random. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but it is not random. meaning that you are allowed to select. For example, in the chapter 2, which is called Flora, the flint is very important. Or at least it helps much more than it does in this map. First, we need 1 wood in order to get the food, and then we need to build a reinforced wall, which we're going to need mud, stone, and 2 water. If we pass, we gain 1 wood. But if you fail, we lose 3 water, 2 wood, and the shelter. This is a shelter, can be built on a field space. Again, I'm not sure that we will be able to actually build it, but basically you spend 2 resources and will allow us to avoid fatigue, which again I will explain in a bit whenever it comes into play, which is at the end of the resolution of one of these cards. And then for the last one, we can spend either wood or stone, a vine, and water. And then we could get mud. Otherwise, we discard 2 resources and sample tokens. So, this is what we're setting up. I'm going to go very quickly through the rules of some of these resources we have to get, because that's already going to influence where do we start and what is going to be my strategy. So, these are the rules. These are the rules for the map. The ones that have like a darker gray background, they're specific for this map. Some of these resources, again, they're specific from this map. For example, the vines are not in any other maps that I've seen. And then there's other resources like flowers and stuff that they are not, they're not coming into play in this map. The rules that we need to be aware at the moment is that wood that I explained before, but we'll get into it again. There's only 1 wood in the column or a row, so basically cannot be any rows with 2 or more or no wood. And they're adjacent to water, and water is always adjacent to wood. Then we have stones. Stones are a bit different in terms that a stone is always adjacent to other stones, and they're all adjacent between them. So all the stones are always connected between them. You're not going to find 2 stones or that they're not connected by a path of stones. Also, there cannot be stones in the border. Right, and then last we have mud. We find mud always adjacent to water and a stone. So if we can find water and a stone, or we can find mud, we sort of know what's adjacent to each other. And lastly, the vines from this card implies that the vines can be found in columns where stones are present, and the other one is true. If there's a stone present, then there will be a vine in that column. A turn consists on we take one of these, or before deciding to uncover one of these, we can perform an action or a free action. Then we uncover this, and then we can perform more actions. At the end of that, we place the token on the board, and then we just move on with the next turn if we don't have to resolve the challenge. So that's it. That's about it. There's obviously more rules and stuff that we will go through them. We will 100% go through them as they're relevant, because there's quite a few of them. So in order to find the forts, they're always going to be in that pattern, but that pattern can be either rotated 90 degrees, 180 degrees, or 270 degrees, or like that. So that's something to take into account. So it's always going to be adjacent to wood and always adjacent to that in that specific order, which is super important to find the tippies. Right, so first we're going to see what we need and see what will happen here. So we 100% want that wood. Well, I mean, we'll see, but we'll probably want to get that wood. Otherwise, we would lose 1 water. That, hopefully, because it's guaranteed that there's one of those wood in the first column or in the second or whatever, and we start there and we have 5 turns to find it, chances are that we're going to find it. If not, it's not the end of the world, although we have to be super careful with water. Next up, we have to worry about mud and stone. If we get mud and stone, we're basically getting 1 wood, which could be useful to pay for the next one. The problem is that finding mud at the beginning will have to be adjacent to stones, and we know that stones are adjacent around here. Sorry, they're in this vicinity. So if we want to start, we could start either here or here, try to start finding mud and going into straight line. Doesn't make a lot of sense starting here. Now, whether I want to complete this or not, it's a different matter, because we have one mud and one stone, so we know where to find the stone, and we know where to find, and we do have water to pay for it. But in return, so basically we are paying 4 resources and we're getting 1 wood back that we could use to pay for the next one. So that's fine. Stone, the failure is losing 3 water and 2 wood and lose the shelter. However, the shelter is not built yet. Again, we're not going to go into that just yet. Basically, and then if we cannot lose wood in this case, we have no bad effect or negative effect. So basically, unless we have wood. So if we have no wood, it would be like 3 water. So basically here, we would lose 3 resources. 2 of them will be either mud or mud and stone, and we would get wood. In this one, we just lose 3 water. So it's not the end of the world failing that, because basically we would end up with the same amount of resources. The issue is obviously water is more important, because without water, you just don't win the game. And then last is that one, which again, it would be very interesting to have that mud. Would have been more interesting being the other way around, although finding vines is going to be tricky. We know there's a vine in this row, but that's the only thing that we know. So worst case scenario, we're just going to just look at everything on that row, which I'm not sure that we're going to have enough. So if we need to fail anything, we will need to fail that. Hopefully, I think I might try to do that. We'll see. But the thing, I'm trying to resolve it. You can decide not to resolve them, just because it's sometimes better to just keep the resources for example, killing the minotaurs and stuff like that. But for now, the failure here, though, implies that we get a log token. And a log token, you put it on your backpack, and basically it takes up a space, which will push it into fatigue. I think it's time to explain fatigue very, very quickly before we actually start playing the game. Basically, at the end of a challenge, you check for fatigue. If you have stuff in here, you have to discard 1 water. If you have the shelter, you have no fatigue penalty. And that's about it. So basically, having these, that they always go in here, onto the left side, basically implies that you're going to get to fatigue much earlier. Okay, well, I think I did say I wasn't going to explain much, and then I explained almost the whole game. Right, there's all other 2 things that they're not on the reference here, on the reference dashboard, which are these 2 rewards, which are, if we are able to explore a whole column, we get a destiny card. One of these could be this one, or one that we draw from the pile. And then we have this card. If we actually just manage to uncover a whole row, then we can discard a threat card in play and then draw a new threat card, which could be useful if we don't get a minotaur and we need to find a minotaur soon. So again, based on what we've done, I think we're going to start here or here, mainly because we're going to need to go for that mud. I'm going to try. We have 5 turns. Again, we can use the compass, which basically, if we correctly guess the terrain, discard that path token, effectively gives us 1 turn, and we can only use on that stone. So might as well do that. Right, so we're going to either start here or here. Where exactly? I don't think it matters too much, because we need to find mud this time. So it wouldn't matter either this or that. If we're lucky, one of these is water, and hopefully the mud is close. Doesn't need to be there, because mud is always adjacent to water and stone, but that doesn't imply that every space that is adjacent to water or stone, there's going to be mud. So we have to be a bit... we'll have to think. So we're going to start there, just on average, and see what we do. So turn, we don't do anything before that. We get it, and we get mud. Straight away. Okay, well that's different. I mean, I don't think I've ever played one of these maps and I got mud straight away. But this is awesome because it's what we needed. So this is awesome. And this is perfect. So basically, we've done mud, and then we get the path token. We flip it, and we get 1 out of 5. Very cool. And then we get mud, we can use in the future, and place it on the backpack. By the way, as I said before, this is like deluxe edition or collector's edition, or no, well, this is the ultimate edition, which is like deluxe edition, but with the expansions, and all the tokens are wooden. But in normal edition, this would be wood. Sorry, this would be cardboard, and this would be cardboard as well. And I think this is just single density cardboard, while this one is double density. So, cool. Right, so we started well. So now we know something for sure, because we know that the stones cannot be on the edge, and we know that mud has to be adjacent to a stone. We know that that is a stone, and then we know that either one of these two is water. So either that is water, or that is water. By the way, these tokens act as resources, and then if you want to just make some sort of theory, for lack of a better word, you can flip them, and then you can mark the spaces where you think things are, so you do not forget. I'm just marking it just for now at the beginning. Maybe in the future, if we don't need to, we won't. So basically now the next step, because we started in column 7, as the game told us to, now the next explorer has to always be adjacent to another path token, sorry, to another explorer space. We cannot go here, we can only go here. So we know that wood is adjacent to water. So either that is wood, or that is wood. So it's just a matter of trying. Let's see. Let's go up. Got lucky again. Or maybe both are water. So we get water. Very cool. Now that's not necessarily water. It could be water, but it's not necessarily water. So now this is either wood or wood. And we're going to need other. So let's go here, for example. This could be mud as well, because it's adjacent to water and to stone. I think I want to go up, because don't forget that if we complete a column, we get one of these cards. So I think I might as well just, or we could go left. I mean, we need to, we're going to need one of those vines eventually. And we don't have, and we have 8 turns. So no, I'm going to go left, and hopefully we can see whether there's a vine here, because otherwise it would have to be here. So let's go left. Okay, we got a tippy already. Oh, Okay, so whenever we get a tippy, or whenever we uncover a tippy, you can trade any of the resources, water or mud, for any other resources from the map. So if we would need food, we would trade one and just get it back. And that is super useful at the end, because we know that at least there's 3 of each terrain, but we're not guaranteed that there's more than 3. Meaning that if we've exhausted all the mud at day 4, then there's no way of us getting mud, except with either one of these gear or just a TP. So this is annoying, because now we're wasting 1 TP. But that's fine. That is fine. So now there's the probability of that being either a fort. It could be anything, couldn't be anything. But then if this is wood, I'd be very surprised, because then that can't be wood. Yeah, sorry, that cannot be wood. Hopefully I don't make many of these rookie mistakes. So this, we know 100% that is wood, obviously, because it has to be adjacent to wood, and this is no wood. So we also know there's no wood there, no wood there. So if there would be a fort, it would have to be here. But that implies, if that is a fort, then that would be wood. That's a lot of wood in that sentence. That would be wood. So that could be thing, because it does follow this pattern, like tippy, fort, and wood. Right, and we also can use the compass if we want to. So again, we're still trying to find that vine. And now that we know where the wood is, we could either use the compass and see it and look at it. Because, as I said before, the compass, if we guess what terrain it is, we just basically, rather than place it there, we discard it, meaning that it's like we have an extra turn. So we need, I think we'll do that later because, I mean, we do know where the wood is. We also have to be careful, now that I think about it, because we still haven't talked about skulls, which is the third item on that list. Whenever the rule for skulls is that there's a skull always adjacent, either diagonally or orthogonally to a tippy. Whenever we get a tippy, whenever we get a skull, we get the resource itself, which is a skull, and also we have to draw a threat card. Remember, that is the ones that give us minotaurs and other bad thing happening, and we're not ready for that. So exploring this area, it is risky. It is really, really risky, because if we get a minotaur there, it's going to block us for quite a while. So if this is a skull, then a minotaur appears, we will have to place one of these minotaurs over here. And then if we want to explore either of the spaces blocked, they're not blocked, but in that row or in that column, we'll have to pay either one resource or one water. So that's not what we want. I mean, we do have Sakaware, which will allow us to jump and explore not adjacently, but only once per day. Right, there's also another rule, so which is the skulls. Like, basically, if this is a skull, they cannot be the same type of terrain adjacent to the skull. So all the terrains around the skull, orthogonally, they're just unique. And the other rule is that diagonally to a tippy, there is always one food, and diagonally to a food, there is always one tippy. So basically, we know that either this or that is food. I mean, I'm marking this now, just so you more or less know. But then I will stop doing that, and will only mark what is strictly necessary, because otherwise there will be quite a lot of tokens on there. I don't know what I want to do. I'm a bit scared of that skull, getting a skull this early, because if it blocks us, then we won't be able... If the skull appears here, the main issue here is that it's going to block that. And if we need to find a vine, I mean, we know there's a vine in that row as well, but it will take us longer to find that out, because we know that for a fact that is stone, and we have 2 uncovered, so we only have to dig for 5. Here we will have to dig for 6, or maybe 7, depends whether we find the food or not first. So this is tricky. This is really tricky, actually. Right, so what are we doing? I think we're going to go for wood first, but not just yet. We could go either up and look this. That would not be adjacent to the tippy, so it's not skull. We don't risk it. Or we could go down, try to complete the first row, because everything that we need is going to be close to here. We don't. Sometimes, I mean, we were lucky here that we had that challenge card and the mud was there, but the cluster of rooks could have been here, meaning that we would have had to actually walk quite a bit outwards, losing quite a lot of turns to get there. So I think we can chill for a bit here, but don't forget we need to find 3 forts. So if we always chill for this area, the chances of the 3 tippies being in this area is very, very slow, very low. Right, so we're going to go down, I think. Oh, we're going to use the... Yeah, I think we're going down. We're going down and see what we find. Hills. This is a new type of terrain. this side of terrain in this map, basically it's a free turn. We discard this, so it doesn't count against the turn, and it tells us the amount of forts that there are in this column and row. So it could be 2 here, or 1 and 1, right? So that is very useful information actually, because we know that if there is a fort here and a fort here, we know basically where are more TPs and more wood. And also we've gained 1 turn, which will help us getting that destiny card. Very cool. This is going well. So chances are that the food is here, because again, rogues have to be connected to each other, so it could go there or could be connected there. Chances are that this is higher, but it could be either. So let's keep going. So we've done 3 turns. We have 2 more. We need to get that before everything finishes. I mean, we're just going to get it because we can always get the stone using the compass, so I'm not wasting the compass. So that's it. So we'll get this, and we get, already we have all the resources necessary to pass the first challenge. And we have 1 more path token. There's 4 in there at the moment, in order to actually finish our first challenge. I'm just going to do what I wanted to do, which is going up there and then left. So we'll see what's in here. More water. That's it. We've got more water, and I'm glad I didn't use my compass, because otherwise we would have go over water, and we might still go over the water. That is annoying. Yeah, we might still go over. Then we would be wasting 1 water. Oof, so I'm very tempted to actually just fail, remove the water, and keep the wood. But then we have an extra wood here. We could have used the wood for the fire, but the thing is that we know there's 7 wood in the map. So yeah. Huh. So I don't know whether it's worth... I mean, we have 3. Are we going to find water in 3? Chances are that we're going to find water, and then we're probably going to waste that. And I'm very annoyed. Well, I mean, I will be very annoyed about it if that happens. So I think this might be the first time that I want to fail, just because I've never had that much water. But then water is super important. So if we manage not to find water this first turn, that'd be great. Which is a bit counterintuitive, isn't it? We don't want to find water. And then we could keep an extra wood. We could have used it for the flint. Might as well do that. Do we risk it like that? I mean, it's not a massive risk, but, you know. Yeah, I think we're just going to fail it. And we're going to keep. So basically, we can either keep the wood or keep the water. So basically, we fail it. We don't have to discard the wood. And we do get 1 food that we will want to use at the end of the game. The problem with doing this as well is fatigue. So next, we're going to need rock, and we're going to need that. So we might get fatigued by doing this. But if that happens, we can always use the wood on the flint. Yeah, I think we'll keep it like that. So I don't like this 1 bit, but I feel like I'm going to get more water. If not, we're wasting 1 water. Otherwise, we're wasting 1 wood. So, right, we remove this, and we remove the card. And that card, we'll just put it away for now. And then day 2. Then the consequence. We reveal. When revealed, lose 1 water if fatigued, and resolve any monster that has consequences. There's no monsters. We have no fatigue because these are empty. So we're doing fairly well for the next challenge. So we need 3. We need the vines, but also we have the pick. I mean, when you gain a rock from exploring, which we're going to use soon, then you can get another resource. So you could get vines immediately from that if we wanted to. So that could be interesting. I think fatigue is going to be annoying though. Right. Let's keep going. So we're going to... I'm going to look here. So either it's wood or it's something else. Hopefully that's a vine, and then I don't have to worry. But the problem is that if I get a vine here and then I keep getting stuff, I'm going to get fatigued. So I don't know whether I want to do that. This is, chances are that this is also a rock, so we'll have to go around it, because again, rocks are always adjacent to rocks. Maybe that was a mistake doing the water, but we're not going to undo it just yet. We're going to look what's here. We know that either it's a fort cannot be in there. It's impossible for a fort to be in here, so there has to be 2 forts over there. Again, I don't know why I didn't think about this before, but it's impossible because obviously a fort has to be sandwiched between 2 stuff. So basically we know that there's two forts in there. That's very good information. That is great information actually, because if we start thinking about it, there has to be a lot of rock in here. So rock has to always be connected to other rock, meaning that that cannot be a fort, because obviously that would be either wood and a tippy or the other way around, and then there's no way for the rock to actually connect to each other. So that cannot be it. That obviously cannot be it, because... So basically, we know that there's 2 forts in these three paths. So there's no here, no here, and no there. And 2 out of 3. So that's pretty good information, because we also know then that where the tippies are and where the wood is. So we know that there's 2 woods, so there's no wood here. Sorry, so there's no wood here, 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 and there's always going to be 2 wood in either of those 2 bits. Okay, that's really good information. So it's either wood. I mean, there's several possibilities here. 3 possibilities. Sorry, not 3. No, more. 6 possibilities. Right. So let's finish this then. We know where stuff is, so we need to start working our way to the left and try to find that stuff. We'll have to not forget getting that stone. So we're going to go down first. Again, got lucky again. There's no forts in here, which we knew already. I mean, we knew there was not here. We didn't know there wasn't any there. But it would be really, really difficult if that would be a fort. I mean, we would solve things much earlier. So right, and then if we just unlock that, we gain our column reward, which is getting a threat card. Do we want to do that? I mean, there's no point in not doing it, but at the same time, then we need to go to the left. And I'm very tempted to just, if this is rock, that'd be very annoying. I'm going to go here. Hopefully it's not rock. It's water. Good thing. Oh, damn. That was good then. That was good. Good thing I actually spent the water, because otherwise we would have been over the limit. That's good. That's really, really good. Right, so now we know that's wood, or that's wood. And we know that cannot be wood. Oh, that cannot be wood, so this is not wood, so either the wood is here or here. But yeah, either the wood is here or there. Let's mark that. Let's mark that in there and see what happens. So we have either the wood there or the wood there, because we've said that if there's... Oh, wait, not necessarily. because it could be horizontal, isn't it? So if it's horizontal, this doesn't make sense what I'm just saying. So no, they could be just horizontal. No, it couldn't be a horizontal, because if it's horizontal, there would be a fort here, then a tippy here, and then a wood there, or the other way around. But then it could be the other one. So it could be... No, it can't be. Can't be. There's no way. I mean, don't know whether I should... So if we get a fort here, a tippy here, or a wood here, or the other way around, the only way there's another fort here, obviously, is here, and we've already said there's nothing. So that's not... No. So it was fine. It was fine. Good deduction there. I tend to overthink sometimes stuff, and then I forget that I've done certain reasonings, and then I completely forgot. Okay, I'm going to keep up the pace, although this is quite interesting scenario, well, sort of map at the moment, because we can figure out a lot of things without being close, which I don't think I've ever played a map where that happened. But yeah, I mean, I'm taking my time here. I'm also explaining a bit how it works, isn't it? So right, so chances is that this is a rock, and I'm probably fairly sure that this is going to be the wood. Now, where the hell is the vine then? Like, I'm assuming this is going to be the vine, or that's going to be the vine. But again, this is going to be scary. I mean, we don't mind. I'm going to explore that, and if it's a stone, I don't mind. But that will give us exactly the location of the wood. I think this is going to be the wood, but if it's a stone, that'd be great as well. Mud. What the hex? Right, so we know for a fact that this is that. We put that there, and we get more mud. Yeah, this is a strange turn of events, because now we could build a shelter and avoid fatigue for the rest of the game. That would be amazing, actually. That would be amazing. So, will we know? Nothing. That gives us no information. Not true. That does give us information, but very little, because either we know now that either the rock go like that or like this. We know, we give us information that this is wood, and we give us information that this is probably either a vine. Hopefully this is the vine and not that one. So we'll probably, if we want the vine, we will explore this first. And then if it's not the vine, we know it's there. So that's fine by me. That is fine by me. So I don't know whether I actually want to do other stuff. I don't know what to do. I'm not using any of my gear, which this is rare normally in this. So we want to keep pushing left, and we know that that's no wood, but that could be a stone. But we need the stone. So, but we need it now. we need it now. So we're going to use the compass, which says, if you correctly guess the terrain you're about to explore, sorry, I don't know what discard that path token. Meaning that we just tap it, or at least that's what I do. Oops. Well, that's what I do. And then I say, well, I think this is a stone. So rather that, we'll discard the path token rather than putting it there, and doesn't count against the timer. And then you see that this has like a red space, meaning that we cannot explore from that token, from that terrain, sorry. Meaning that we could not explore this path, we would have to go around it. So every single, every path that does have a red border, we cannot explore from it. Right, so we use that, we still have that, and now I don't want the damn thing, because now I'm going to go over, which this is, again, this is fairly rare. And now we know for a fact that that is a stone, because that cannot be the food, which would have to be diagonally to the tippy, and that is the food. So we know there's food there, and we're going to need it next turn. So we know that this is either a tippy, that might be the skull, so it's either the skull or the tippy, and it could be the skull, that could be the skull or the fort, or maybe no fort at all. We don't know that yet, so we're not going to go too far into the deduction here. Now we're going to get fatigued here if we're not careful, because we're going to gain 1 wood. So I wonder, and this is the first time I do it, whether I just use the mud and this. I know we cannot build a shelter. Damn, the shelter, we need the space. I keep forgetting this. We need the space, and the shelter is always adjacent to either to wood and food. To wood and food. So that cannot that could be a shelter, and that could be wood. No, that cannot be wood because it's here. So basically, that could be a shelter, then that would be wood, and that would sort of go into what we know. That could be a shelter, and that could be wood. In which case, if that's a shelter and that is wood, then that would actually line up as well with what we know here. But the problem is that if that is true, then we're going to get fatigued here in a minute. So we would like to find the shelter. The shelter would be great. Hopefully the quality and stuff of the stream is decent. Hopefully, I'm not sure. I'm undecided. But hopefully, well, I will review everything and see how that works. Right, so we know that's either a skull or a vine, and that it's a vine, hopefully. But we don't want to get it because we cannot build. I keep forgetting about that. So if this is food, there's a high chance that is, but that could be a stone. Let's see that. If it's a stone, we can always use it. I mean, we're going to use that. We're going to use that. Right, so that's 2. We discard that. If that's a stone, we could use it to build a fire. Then we would gain that, and we would not fatigue us. So we will do that. We'll come here. Boop. What the heck is going on? You see, this is the thing why this dowsing rod is fairly interesting, is because now there's at least 3 of each terrain, so it's not guaranteed that there's any more more mud in this map. Meaning that if we need mud in the future, it's going to be difficult to get, unless they've added some extra mud somewhere. Right, let's keep going then. So we know for a fact as well that either this or this is, you can still go like this, so there's still another chance that that is not stone. But I would imagine it is, but again, we cannot guarantee that. So we can do 3 actions before resolving that. So we're going to spend, I mean, I'm not spending because we're not resolving yet, but we're doing that. So I think because we know where wood is and we know where most of the wood is going to be, I'm going to play that, and it says build a fire for 1 stone or 1 wood. So we're going to do that, and we're going to build our first fire. This could be useful in the future, or could be useful if we can discard 2 fire, and we can basically put back one of these tokens in there, just in case we are not interested in what it's offering. We can discard 2 fire and then put it back. Right, and this way we're not going to fatigue. We have 3 damn mud, which could be useful in the future, just to get the just if we get tippies in order to trade it, and it could be useful also to build a shelter. So yeah, we're going to do that. Sorry, did I? What did I do? No, I can't do that. Wait, what did I do? I can't do that. Sorry, my brain. I know I can. Sorry. I thought we were resolving that. No, we are resolving that. Before I go, my brain fart there. Sorry. So we're resolving. We remove all these 3. And we're going to remove that and that. We're going to lose 2 water. And we're going to gain 1 wood, because that's the pass effect. Meaning that we're not getting affected by anything, and we're not in fatigue either. Because we're not in fatigue, we keep going. Right. So now we need a vine. And we get an extra mud, because we don't have enough mud in this game, of course. Might not as well use, I mean, we could use the rod to get that wood over there. And we basically need a vine now. We could also find a tipi and then exchange one of these mud. We don't need that much mud. We could try to just find a shelter because we have quite a lot of mud. I'm still getting more and more convinced that this is a fort. Is that I'm going to look at that and probably vine. If I'm correct, that's going to be a vine. That's going to be school. That's going to be the fort. That's going to be that. And I don't want to waste my dowsing rod either. So we're going to... We know that that's wood. So we could get water for free, but that would imply that we will have to discard some of this stuff. Otherwise, we're going to get fatigued. We only have 2. We're going to see whether that is the vine first. And because otherwise we're going to be wasting it. So otherwise we will be wasting it. So I'm going to risk it now. And if we fail, we fail. I normally don't do this, and I always do it whenever it's sure to use it. When it's sure, like that's going to be the thing. But in this turn, because there's only 2 turns left, might not be worth it. So I'm going to guess that that is the vine. Yep. We got the vine. So basically, we're still not guaranteed. We still haven't guaranteed that they decide that this is the school, but it's looking more like it. Could still be here. And then that not be a fort. But, you know, this is looking great. And because we've used the dowsing rod, it says, if you correctly guess the terrain you're about to explore, gain a resource of water from an adjacent explore path. Because this is adjacent explore path, we get 1 water. And we're doing extremely well water-wise, which is not that normal. And now, we're going to spend, not yet, but we're going to spend that and that. We get another mud. I don't need that much mud. But now we can either get to the... I don't mind now, to be fair. I don't mind now saying whether this is a fort. And if that's a skull, that's a skull. That's fine, because we're at the end of the night. A monster is going to spawn. And if the skull appears here... If the skull appears here... Sorry, if the skull appears here, then that's going to... I'm going to have to pay 1 extra to explore that. But we know that the forts are here. We know that the forts are there, meaning that it's not going to matter now. So I'm going to look at it and hope that that is a fort. Yes! Yes! There it goes. First fort. So we were right all this time. So we got the fort, we got that, and now we're going to draw one of the kill minotaurs, which is going to allow us to kill a minotaur when it appears. All right. We were lucky enough, we have the fire, and we have, with a stone, we kill a minotaur. But there's no minotaurs, so we cannot do anything yet. So now we know, for a fact, that this is wood. So we know the wood, there's 1 wood there, 1 wood there, 1 wood there. We know that now, because that the wood cannot be there, because it won't be adjacent to water, and then we have wood all over. So yeah, this is going decently well. Now, next then we could just go into food because we need food at the end of the night. We have it, but we have it as well for next turn. So we know for a fact this is a school if we need it at some point. There it goes. So now we're going to evaluate. And we build the road bridge. So we are going to discard the wood, the vine, and wanted water. And now we're going to get, of course, another mud. This is ridiculous. Why would we need so much mud? Why do we need so much mud, please? Damn, this is annoying, but it's great. Right, so we finished that, and now we're at the end of the day. At the end of the day, we need to spend... Well, I mean, we check for fatigue first. There's no fatigue. And we eat some berries. Yum, yum, yum. And now... we survive, and then we say, if there are no monsters in play, reveal a new threat card. So we're going to get the top threat card here and see what we find. Offers Minotaur, which is great, actually. Which is great, because we know we can kill it now. So this is amazingly good. So this says place the Minotaur token on. If it's daytime, which it isn't, it's nighttime. So northernmost explored path on path priority. Path priority, I haven't explained path priority yet, but basically all the resources have a specific priority. This is this trait tells you more or less what is the path priority. So that would be food first, then wood, etc., etc. So we have water, and we have the vine. So the vine is in higher path priority than the water, so we place the Minotaur in there. And each Minotaur has a token, which a corresponding image. But this is great because we can immediately kill it. Well, immediately, not immediately, but we're going to be able to kill it. Then we refresh all characters and gear. We're going to leave all Minotaurs in here, just to make sure. We have to kill 3. That was the first one. We just do that, and we just do that. We did not use her ability either, because we didn't need to. I mean, if the mud wouldn't have been so close together, we could have used it to jump towards the left side on the map. That's pretty good. So that's pretty damn good, actually. Right. Then reveal new 3 challenge cards. So the 3 cards is going to be mud. Freaking heck! This is really, really good. Then we have the skull and more vines. We know there's more vines where rock is, and 2 more mud. I swear I haven't prepared these decks. It looks, I mean, you saw me actually just shuffling them at the beginning. What is going on? I mean, this is insanely rare. Then the resource that we get the most is the one that they're asking for constantly. So we have a turn, or sorry, a day, which is 3 challengers, just to do whatever, almost whatever we want. We could find the skull and we can find the vine. We know where a skull is, and we know that there's a vine here, and we have 8 turns to deal with this. So this is pretty fantastic. Right. So let's start. And if we have a shelter, we would get a destiny card, but we have no shelter, and I think the shelter is going to be there. I mean, we could go on. Yeah, I mean, we could go and find the shelter, and then gain a destiny card. I might do that actually. I mean, hopefully that is a shelter. I mean, shelter has to be adjacent to food and wood, but that doesn't imply that it always that if there is wood and food in this pattern, that is going to be a shelter. That is not guaranteed at all. Right? So we can leave that for later. We have a lot of mud, so we don't want to use the compass yet, just in case we don't find some of the stuff. And we want stone as well. I mean, we've got a stone, kill the Minotaur. Okay, let's go for wood first. We get wood. Thank you very much. And that will at least, sorry, 1 here. Use mud to cool down. That is the the challenge. I mean, we have plenty of mud to cool down for sure. And we place it here. So if we do find, oh well, this is tricky though. But I mean, it's not tricky. But if we use this to build a shelter, what is going to happen? I mean, we're going to get more water, which would be insane because this is not normal. Like the amount of water and everything that we're getting. But then we have a lot of rewards that if we have the shelter built, we can do stuff. So I'd rather do, yeah, this is perfect because if we actually build that, we could use the pick, which says when you gain a rock from exploring, also gain a resource of water you currently don't have. Well, that's not that great because we do have plenty of mud. So would there be a way of getting mud here? Only if we guarantee that that is rock, we can actually use the dowsing rod to get more mud. I think that might be an idea, actually. I think that is going to be a shelter, or at least I'm hoping that it's going to be a shelter. So, see, there it goes, shelter, which was adjacent to wood, and that, we place it there. Now, do we, I think we have to, isn't it? We are going to, build a shelter. So basically, we discard 1 mud and 1 wood, and we just place the shelter on the map, meaning that now we don't have to worry about fatigue, and we're going to get all these rewards. And now it's time to resolve the next challenge card. Next challenge card, it says we spend 1 and 1, so we spend 1 mud and 1 water. And now if we do have the shelter, we gain a destiny card. So the destiny card, we're going to get the pickaxe, which will allow us, whenever you get a rock from exploring, we can gain a resource of water we don't have. So rather than going and looking at the skull, we could just go and get the skull straight away. And because we do need the rock either way, because we need to kill the Minotaur, well, that would be it. So we'll discard that. And then we have 3 turns to make all these decisions. Now, how are we going to get the mud? It's going to be interesting, because either this is a stone or this is a stone. So it's a bit of a risky maneuver now. But if we fail that, it's not the end of the world either, because we have plenty of everything. But I would like not to fail it. So, and we need to actually replenish that card, which is a dull knife. If you have a rock, gain a vine. Oh, well, we don't have to even worry about vines. Not that I was worried about them, but we don't even need to worry about them now, because we know there's a vine in one of these 3 spaces. But if we get this, we would get this card. Whenever we gain the rock, we could just do the dull knife, get the vine, so we can do that, and we could get the skull at the same time. So that'd be great. So we're doing that. So we're exploring this, which is water. Okay. I don't think I've ever played a game with so much water. Getting so much water all the time. This is really, really weird that this is all water all the time. That I'm getting so much water. Right, and we completed the row, which will give us another card. And then we can just replenish that. Save 1 fire the next time you're forced to lose 1 fire. So if there's another challenge card that says lose a fire, if we have that card, obviously we don't have to destroy a fire or remove the fire. Right. Well, we're getting the compass. So we're going to... I mean, I could look at this, and this is a vine. I mean, chances are that there is not going to be a vine, but I do want to get the rock. Just to discard that, and that is probably going to be the vine. But... And I want to know that just to guarantee, because if that is... Well, no, it doesn't guarantee anything. Because if that is a rock, I mean, that has to be a rock or that has to be a rock. Meaning that if I can activate that with Dowsing Rod, I would get a mud. Meaning that we will able to pass this and gain extra water and all that, which we don't really need, but I would like to do that. So what we're going to do is, because we're in the explore, I mean, we couldn't have explored that rock from here, but we can explore it from the fort. I think we probably get more information going here, because if that is not a rock, that implies that that is the rock, and then I can use the Dowsing Rod to get the extra mud. So we're doing that. We're looking here, and because we have an extra one and we have the compass, we can do all this. We have a rock. Damn, that is annoying. So we'll gain 1 rock. So now that doesn't have to be a rock. Meaning that either that could be the rock or that could be the rock. Meaning that we're just flipping a coin at the moment. And now because we have... because we've done the pick, we say when you gain a rock from exploring, also gain a resource or water you currently don't have. So we're going to get the skull. We're going to get the skull just to pay for that card. And then we're going to say dull knife, discard if you have a rock, gain 1 vine. So we're going to gain 1 vine as well. And we're just using everything, but we can actually pay for that. So that is not too bad at all. Now, do we risk it here and say that is a rock as well? Or can we actually just think a bit about that? Also, we could kill it straight up. We could kill the Minotaur straight up. So we're going to do that. We're going to kill the Minotaur. So we can look at that card. And we're just going to, because we have the fire and we have the rock, kill the Minotaur, goes up the map, and that's 1 out of 3. And now we could also just, if we need another Minotaur, we know where to find it, or at least there's a 60% chance that that is a Minotaur, because there's like 3 more Minotaurs and 2 other cards. And we have to not forget to get that, because that is super important, otherwise we die. So might as well get it now. I think I might as well get it now before I forget, because then I tend to forget sometimes. So we'll get the compass and we say, okay, well, that is food. We get food, we discard the pack token, and we don't have to worry again. We're not worrying about fatigue at the moment, so that's fine. Do we risk this? So is that going to be the stone, or is that going to be the stone? I don't know. That is the vine, or that's the vine for sure. There's no way we can guarantee we get that mud now. We know that's water. Wait, we know that's water. Could there be an extra mud there? That would be amazing. But if that's the mud, then obviously the fort would have to be these 2. That would be a bit risky to do, but I'm not that bothered about it, actually. Otherwise, we'll just flip a coin and risk it. We'll get the water then. We'll get the water. And we place it here. And then we resolve the next challenge card, which basically we spend 1 of that, 1 of that. 1 skull, 1 vine. We spend 1 water, which we have masses. And we get a sample token. I think I briefly talked about this before. They stay there, they occupy space, and you only remove it by discarding another resource on your backpack. Because we have the shelter, I'm not that bothered about it, to be fair, but we're going to gain another sample token, so maybe I'm a bit worried about it. Because it's going to be 2 sample tokens. If we get a 3rd one and we're full, we immediately have to discard 1 resource. Let's hope that is... I don't think that is going to be mud, because that would give us far too much information, but I think that might be the wood, and in that case that would be the fort, and then that would be that. So we're going to do that because it sort of works. We still need 1, and we have 3 tries to get it. Okay, let's go. That is the wood, indeed. That is the wood. So, sorry, I put it in the wrong place. That is the wood. Oh, damn. And that is the wood that we don't particularly need at the moment. We could build an extra fire, or we could just discard the sample tokens as well. So meaning that chances are, no, that is guaranteed now that is the fort. We could just look at it and see what it is, and then chance it on there. That could be interesting for sure. And that is a TP then. This is guaranteed to be the TP. And now we either have the other wood here or the other wood here. Meaning that we still don't know where the TP is, but yeah. If we could also just go for the TP and exchange the wood for that. Oh, we'll do that. Yeah, I didn't think about that, of course. We'll just do that. We don't have to risk anything. We get the fort. We do get the fort, meaning that we get another kill Minotaur card. And we make a trap. In order to kill, we need to get vine, mud, and we need to exhaust 1 of our gear. But we don't have no Minotaurs, and now we don't have that much mud at the moment, do we? So is this worth it? Yeah, we're going to need mud either way. Meaning that maybe we don't spend the mud and we just save it to make the trap. I think that probably is the best way to proceed here. we don't waste the mud, and we use it for the trap, and we still have a vine there. So the penalty is 2 water rather than gaining 2 water. It would have been great gaining 2 water, but because we don't have guaranteed that there's more mud. In fact, we have guaranteed that there's no more mud because we've just basically enclosed all the stones. So this could be a mud, and that's it. And I highly doubt that is, but that could be a mud. That is the only space, and that would have to be water. That implies that would have to be wood. Impossible. That would be wood. Impossible. So that there's no more mud in this map. 100%. So no, we're going to save it actually. We're going to choose to fail and save it. We still have though, but we still have the tippies, don't we? Ah, this is tempting, isn't it? We have the tippies. We have another tippy, and we know that the tippy is going to be there or there, meaning that we would be able to exchange another one. Do we risk it and just get it? So at least I don't have to worry about water anymore. So we will still be able to do that. We'll do that. We're going to risk it for the biscuit here. 100%. I mean, I wish I could just get that. No. Let's do this. Let's go to the tippy. We know it's a tippy because of the pattern. And we don't need the wood for anything, do we? I don't think so. So we get the tippy, which is 3. And then we can exchange this wood for the mud. And because we have 3 in here now, we'll discard those, spend the 2 mud. Hopefully this is not a mistake. And then because we have the shelter, we get 2 water. And we are at the end of day 2, and we have a lot of water, which is not normal. Just saying, this is not normal. But we do gain another sample token, meaning that we're restricted to 4. Good thing we built a shelter, because otherwise it would have been a bit tricky. So we finished the challenge, another completed challenge. We're not fatigued, and then we are at the end of the day. We're going to spend food, and then if there's no monster in play, reveal a new threat card. We do reveal a new threat card, and it's another Minotaur. We've been lucky. There's 2 other cards that are not Minotaurs. That would be annoying as heck, getting one of those. Place Minotaur token on. If night, we're at nighttime, easternmost explore path. So easternmost, any of the initial ones, that's good as well, because it would have been on the west. It would probably blocked us something. And on path priority. Path priority in this case is wood. This is the list. I mean, it's also on the manual. You don't have to look at this all the time, but this is more convenient while you're playing it. So wood. We'll just place it on the wood. Okay. So if we find the vines and we exhaust one of our gear and oh damn, we wasted 2 of these, and we wasted that. We wasted a lot of stuff, but we don't need it because we're doing so well in that. And then we just refresh. We only use the compass. This is a weird playthrough, just saying. This is one of the weirdest playthroughs ever. Right. So, day 3. We have another Minotaur to kill. So now we know that vines are going to be either here, there, or there. And I should have still done the dowsing rod thing. So could there be another tippy here? So if a tip is here, the tip is either here or there, meaning that diagonally there will have to be like food. So I think this scenario works for everything. There has to be also 3 fields, and we're not having that much spaces where we can put 2 more fields. So that could be food, that could be a field. There's no field in here. There's no field in there, obviously. So we're missing. Let's reevaluate wood here very, very quickly. There's no wood there. There's no wood there. There's no wood there. So the wood is either here or here. But the wood cannot be If it's here, water would have to be there or there. And then that would be the wood, and that would be a tippy. If that's a tippy, that could be... So the field will not be able to be there. So the field will have to be here. So I'm assuming this is the food. That is the wood, and there's a field there or there. I think that is probably more likely. I mean, I could spend a few more minutes just going through it, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. So yeah, I mean, we could probably figure out where everything is, or at least have an idea, because of how food needs to be placed. So we need food, and there's also like a school somewhere around here. So we have to be a bit careful with that. Right, we're going to do vines first. Sorry, we need to replenish challenges before anything happens. So we have... Oh, damn. That is annoying. That's one of those cards that make us lose the fire. But then we need... If we actually get there, we will get the fire. So this is a bit annoying. So, but we do have plenty of water to fail, actually. We have plenty of water to fail. This is a weird thing to say, but we do have plenty of water to fail. If we need to fail, we're fine. So, right, let's try to find the vine to just kill that. And then try to find the tippy, which would have to be either there or there. But I think it's going to be there. It's a bit annoying having to lose the fire. We could always use the tab not to lose the fire, but that would imply that we would have to complete that row, that column, sorry. So this could be vine, that could be vine, that could be vine. I'm going to still assume that that is the that is the rock, but we don't know. Let's look this place. Damn, right. Yeah, we could have probably also figured that out. Damn, why didn't I think about this? You see, I mean, we knew that the wood cannot be here, and that cannot be there, so that would have been wood. But I don't know why my train of thought got interrupted there by something else. But this is fine. Well, this is fine. I mean, it's not the worst. We can always use it to build a fire later, or to discard one of these tokens. That is annoying because we did know exactly that could not be there. So now we know that this is water. So now let's just do the Sudoku of the thing. I've said it's Sudoku because this is the most reminiscent of a Sudoku, because it can only be one wood in one column or one row. So basically, we have them either there or there. There's no other way. Either there or there. Right, so will this be actually anything? So that is the vine. I'm going to assume that this is the vine then. What do we need? Oh wait, oh well, this is good because we did need actually. Okay, well that was a fluke on my mind, on my part. We did need wood, to not fail this, and we could just get the stone. I'm going to risk it for the biscuit, to be fair. I'm going to assume that that is stone. It's 50% chance. What else could it be? What else could it be? Could it be water? No, it can't be water. It cannot be... could be a vine. It could be a vine perfectly. So if we find a vine here, if we don't find the vine here, then that's the vine and that's the rock, and we can do that and get what we want. Okay, we'll do that. So see what was in here? That is the vine, which is a bit annoying. So it would have been perfect if that wouldn't have been the vine. That would have been absolutely perfect, actually. But it is what it is. And now we do need to get some stone. So we can access the stone this way, this way. I'll get the stone because we needed to resolve the challenge. It's one of the annoying challenges, so yeah. Right, so now we've done 3. We at least got the vine. And then we spend 1 wood. We spend 1 stone or 1 rock and the 2 water. And we're doing well. And we lose the fire, which it would have been great because we would have got another food, and we do need the food. So I might want to build the fire again soon. We do need another wood. We know there's 1 there, and it's either there or there. And we have 3. And we need the vine as well. And we know there's another vine here, so that's probably a vine again. If that's not the vine, then that is the vine, then that is the rock, and then we can do also the mud thing that we were talking about before. Yeah, well, as you see, there's quite a lot of reasoning here, a lot of ways of going through here. I'm playing fairly slow. I always play fairly slow, not going to lie, but there's a lot of things to consider if you want to actually just try to be optimal in the way, you know, I mean, in the end, this is a game about thinking and about figuring out where stuff is. So it could be a bit slow, or you could just whatever. So let's not forget what we're doing here. We don't want another sample token. That would be annoying as heck. So we do need wood, and we do need just wood. So we know it's here or there. Hopefully that it's not a skull. That's what I'm scared of. That is water. Perfect. So we have water. Again, we're drowning in water at this point. Don't know what's going on here, but we're drowning in water. There it goes. Sorry, this we already beaten that. We're going to put that as beaten. Don't know whether it's yeah. I'll yeah, that's fine. We'll put that as beaten. I think it makes sense, isn't it? We've got the water, so we know that is wood. So we can pass the challenge. Perfect. We get some wood. And now what? And now what? Now this is the question. Now what? Do we build a fire? Do we do this and build the fire? We're going to need more wood next turn, but we could actually just fail that. The main issue with failing that is that we get another sample token, and we have plenty of sample tokens, I think. So we do need to kill this thing. We do need to kill this thing, and we need the mud. So if this is the skull, it's annoying. I do think that is going to be the food. We need another vine, and we do need the tippy. So the tippy was there. And I want to kill the Minotaur before it's the end of the day, so we actually can do stuff. So that is the... I mean, we could just go and see where that is. Sorry, I'll put it like that. And we could actually look at this, see whether it's a more interesting thing than that. And something that is a bit more convenient at least. And then we can make better decisions. Or we can just go for food, sorry, for wood, build a fire, get the food. I don't have to worry about it. What's the options? What are the options here? But then we have 3 turns. We need more wood. Which we know where it is. We know now that the wood is there. So we will have more wood. No problem there. And then we have the skull, which we could, if we kill the thing first, we could do that. Or we could just exchange whatever we want with the tippy. Damn, there's so many damn options here. And we need that food. So we're going to build a fire either way. I think I'm building a fire. So we'll build a fire so we don't have to worry about finding the food, which we know more or less that is here or here. Or is here. No, wait. Let's do a bit of a thinking here because we have new information. We have new information, and information is that this is food because it's it's diagonally adjacent to that. So we could just get the food straight away and don't worry about it. But it's an extra thing that would be very useful. I mean, the things that I could use it just to discard that, but then we're losing one turn getting to that food, which would be that one. But we could have used the compass. So there's just so many damn options at the moment that I'm not sure what is the best thing. I just want... The only thing I want is that damn mud. In order to get that damn mud, it's probably a rock here. So we can sort of... I don't want just to chance it and say, okay, well, this is... Oh, well, wait, what? I know. No. I thought we could have just actually figured out what that is, but we can't. Can we? No, we don't. So that's probably rock. That's probably something else. We know that the food has to be here or there, but then we know there has to be a school here, and there's a school here or there, and the school cannot be here because that's true. If you look at the two rules with the school, the first one is a tippy one, and the other one, which is a bit slightly lower, it implies that all the spaces adjacent orthogonally to school have to be different, meaning that because this is wood, that is impossible for that to be the school, meaning that is guaranteed to be the school. So we're guaranteed to find 2 more Minotaurs very soon. Very, very soon. Right, let's see whether we can gather any more information that we might have missed. I think this is going to be a field because there's no other way, and this has to be a field. So this, I'm using this, which is a different resource from a different scenario, just to signify that might be a field. So that, I think that is a field. And I think that this is a field. Because it has to be adjacent, excuse me, it has to be adjacent to wood and to food. So basically, that cannot be there. That cannot be there because it's water, because it has to be adjacent to water. And there's always 3 fields, or 3 of everything all the time. So in every map. So the only possible spaces, because we've already figured out where all the wood is either that and that. There's no other way. Implying that has to be the food. That has to be more food. And now we've restricted the school to that bit. And we know there's going to be another vine, so it's either the vine here or the vine there. So it's either the school or the vine or the vine or the school. So it implies that if the school is not here, it could be here, but if this, I think it's going to be here, that's going to be stone and that's going to be vine, or the other way around. Because if that is not the school, so if this is the school, that implies that that is the stone, and we can do that. There's a lot of things to take into consideration, and I'm starting to... I don't want to get as many sample tokens either, so let's go. Let's keep going. I mean, we figure out most of the map by now. So it's just a matter of figuring out what's the next... What is the next card that we're going to get. For killing the Minotaur. So we're going to see that, and then we're going to reevaluate. So we get that, and we get the next card. Next card is... 2 wood and 1 skull. Right, so we lose the 3. We missed our chance of getting that food, sadly enough. We discard that, we discard that. Do we want to discard that? Because now we're going to need 2 more wood. But we can get 2 more wood immediately, and we can get the skull immediately as well, because we can trade with that. I'm very tempted to get another sample token here. And now we can just basically go wood here. We could get the wood there. And we could just go for that. And we could kill that Minotaur. Then we can complete that. We would get another card of those. And then we would just need to get the damn mud. We're going to need all that as well. Oof, we need to be ready to start failing these. So either we failed and we just focus on the Minotaurs, or we just try to challenge and then we're going to struggle getting wood, because there's no more wood on the map, except these 2. So I think we have to ignore challenges. This is something I don't like to do, but we have to. Because we need two wood there. Or we could fail one and not fail the other one. That's another way of doing this. So we could get 1 wood, another wood there, and then we could use the tippy to exchange the mud. I like that as well. Oh damn, this is annoying. This is a bit this is tricky at the moment. This is really tricky at the moment. We could kill the Minotaur. We could actually spend 1 water. What I'm thinking is that I could use the dowsing rod to actually get this wood, get the skull, and that will almost basically complete that, destroy that. We would get another Minotaur, probably, or not. Maybe not, maybe we don't, but even if that's the case, even if we can't. Damn! You see, this is a bit of the analysis paralysis that... I mean, we have plenty of water, so I don't mind. But this could be an extreme big, massive mistake at the moment. Because we don't have... The issue here is there's no more wood on the map. So at most, we're going to be able to get 1 2 and 2 uses of the dowsing rod, 4. Which we could use to kill that, but then we're wasting time. So do we want to waste time, or do we want just to keep doing this? I have no idea. I think we're going to fail it, actually. I don't like this. I don't like failing this. Because we're going to need also, like, food. So we're going to get food out of here. We need food, either way. So we need 1 turn. So if we just kill 1 Minotaur, we don't have to kill both of them. So I think we're probably getting 1 and failing the other. I think that would be better. We'll fail 1. So which one is the worst to fail? It doesn't matter because we're not going to get that, so it's literally the same. So we're going to pass this one. And that will probably guarantee us to win next day rather than this day. I was thinking whether I could actually just win this day, but I think that is not on the cards at the moment. We're not fatigued. We keep going. We need also stuff to trade. If we want to use the tippy to trade, we really need to trade. So we need food, which we can get either here or here. So even if that is the skull, that's fine. We can always get there and get it. If that is the vine, then we can probably safely guess that is the stone and that is there. But that would be tricky as well. Damn. Stress. This is stressful now. We're at a point that this is trickier than it looks. I mean, it feels like it's solved. I feel like I've solved this a while ago. But it's not so clear anymore because of these requirements. So we're going to fail that, and I'm fine with failing that. I'm absolutely fine failing that. We have 3 steps. So we're going to use first the compass just to get this. I think that is, yep, and then because we've guessed, well, why it was on top, we gain 1 wood, and doesn't count it against us. Now, before I forget, I'm going to get the food. So we'll get food, first marker, so we don't die at night. That is important. You know, important not dying. And sometimes I've forgotten about that food. Like in the last 2 turns, so I had to, luckily I actually noticed in time. And didn't die, but... So now we can get that, get another one of these, and just kill that Minotaur. And then we fail that, and I think that's probably the best way of going about this. So we're going to get another wood here. The other wood, obviously we knew that that was wood. And now we're getting the skull. And we're also going to, ooh, that... Okay, this might be a bit... I mean, the reward for actually completing the row, which we will complete, is discard a threat card and then draw a new threat card. So, if we complete this, and we draw a threat card, and that threat card is not a Minotaur, we could use the reward of that row just to cycle and get a new Minotaur. That would be great. So I think we might do that. Or we could... Yeah, we might do that. Let's get the skull. We were obviously at this point we sort of figure out that that was a skull, and now we draw a threat card, which is another Minotaur. Well, this was lucky as well. We didn't gain any of the other threat cards that there are in the map, which will slow you down in facing the Minotaurs. I'm not complaining about that. Right, and then because it's daytime, we place it on the skull where we've actually seen this, or was actually just revealed it. Right, so now before resolution, I'm just going to make the spear. So we spend the 2 wood and the 2 skull. 2 wood and 2 skull, and we kill a Minotaur. And which Minotaur we're killing? We're clearly killing this Minotaur, because this is sort of blocking our tippy, and we're going to use the tippy to exchange probably mud or vines, depending on what we can find. Here we know this is a vine or this is a vine, so whatever we don't find, we just exchange it at the tippy. And we kill another Minotaur. So that is pretty damn decent. I don't know where I left the other token. Sorry, which Minotaur did I kill at the beginning? I think I killed this one. Sorry, I had the card all the way through in the wrong place, but we killed this one, not this one. This is the one that is on here. So, is it? No, which one did we kill first? Northernmost is the first one that is spawned here, isn't it? So no, I just put the wrong token on it then. I must have put the wrong token on it then. Hopefully I didn't mess this up. No, I think I'm fairly confident. The first one was northern, then it spawned on the vine, I think, or around here. And then the next one is spawned in here. I double checked that, but I think that was right. I think I just had the wrong token on it. I'll double check that though. Not that it matters, because I don't think I've explored neither of these things. So yeah, because the last one was the easternmost 100% in the last turn. So yeah. And we've been putting in one from the right to the left. So yeah, just messed up the token. Right. We're finished. And then we just get these three. And we are not going to pass because we can't. And then we're going to lose 2 waters. We lose a destiny card, but we don't have any, so that's fine. And then we get an extra sample token. Well, that is great. We have far too many sample tokens. I don't think I've ever had this many. But we build a shelter, so that's absolutely fine. And next up, we're going to end the day. We're not fatigued. We end the day. We eat the food. And then if there's no monster in place, reveal a new threat card. But there is monsters in play, so that's it. And then we reveal 3 other challenges. So 1, 2, and 3. So more sample tokens. But I don't have to worry about this because we're going to likely fail it because there's no point in wasting time doing this. And now we didn't use the flint or the dowsing rod in the previous round. So we're doing fantastically well. We haven't used hair ability either, which would have been useful if the Minotaur was blocking. We could have jumped over the Minotaur and not spend the resources. So that's it. So what do we need to do now? We're going to risk it for the we're going to first get this. And hopefully that's the vine. That is the vine. Good thing. Good. So we do get a vine here. And doesn't matter, we could get any resource at the moment and then trade it at the tippy. And that would be fine as well. Or we could just risk it for the biscuit and see what's in here and use the dowsing rod. And it won't matter. Well, it will matter that we're ending up the game with less time and less stuff. So we're going to do the simple thing here. And well, technically in the tippy, we can exchange water as well for that. So we don't even need to do that. I mean, we're going to do it, but we don't even need to do that because we can just get, okay, we'll get the stone. Now we could have used the compass as well, just because why not? And we get stone. Well, I don't know why I put it there. And now we're going to get the TP, and the TP allows us to exchange that for mud. Now this card says one mud and 1 vine, and exhaust 1 gear. We'll exhaust that, we'll pay that, and we do kill the last Minotaur. And according to this scenario, we immediately win, because as soon as I do that, we don't need to resolve anything else. We immediately win. And that's it. So this was a bit of a weird, that was quite a bit of a weird sort of playthrough, in terms that all the mud appear at the beginning, all the challenge cards appear at the beginning with mud. So it was a bit of an interesting, but at the end, I still struggled a bit. I mean, I didn't struggle because we have a lot of things, so we did choose to not spend the water. But I think this is the time that I've ended up with most sample tokens and with most water at the end of the turn. So then we could just figure out, were we right in this? Yes, I think we were right. That's a field and a field. I like to always figure out whether I'm right on the things that we have on the map, but on the other ones, I just leave them. I mean, we know this guaranteed, and we know that that is a skull guaranteed, and now we know that this is a water 100% guaranteed. So that's about it. And now we could just count the score. Basically, you could score this by just counting the remaining challenge cards and the cards over there. So we have 15, 17, a score of 17, which is not that much. To be fair, I've done 27 or something once. I don't know how, but quite a bit. This is not a bad score. So this is Course of Discovery. Hopefully it gave you an idea. Probably took about 2 hours, well, hour and a half playing through it, but I've been voicing all my thoughts or how everything I played. Hopefully I didn't mess the Minotaur thing. I don't think I did. I think I just didn't put the right token on. Not that would have made much of a difference because they're either here or the other way. So I don't think that was an issue. And yeah, that's about it. I really enjoyed this game. I don't know how many times I've played it since I got it in the last month, but it's really, really good. Also, because the maps are so complex, you're not going to remember these maps that much. So there's a high degree of replayability, like probably in two weeks or 3 weeks, I come back and I don't remember much of this map. And because all these challenge cards are always variable, meaning that depends on the order, you are going to actually try to find different routes. The game has a high degree of variability, as well as replayability as well. Given that you have a lot of maps, there's in total, if you count the maps that come on the Ultimate Edition, which is about 72 in total, with the 6 different chapters, and then there's another 140 or something on the website. You have to pay for map packs, but it's like $5 for 10, 18 maps, depending on pack. So it's really a great game. I mean, this is my first deduction game, and I think they did it extremely well. It feels like a board game, which is one of my issues with deduction games, that they just feel like a puzzle. And this actually managed to feel like an actual survival game. Also, again, you can just print maps from the website, and probably surely at some point people will do custom maps, and you have an infinite degree of replayability. Well, not infinite, but quite big. Taking into account that a lot of the issues that I have with deduction board games is that once you know the solution, that's it. There's nothing else to it. You just have to hope that you forget next time you want to play the game. Here, because it's so complex, it's not about complexity, it's just icons on a 7x7 grid. Chances are that you're not going to remember. And again, so I think this is, to me, the perfect deduction game that doesn't rely on an app, has a high degree of replayability and a high degree of variability as well. So yeah, that was my first stream on YouTube. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do YouTube streaming for some games, and then for more chill workouts, for more chill streaming, like unboxings and stuff, I'll do Twitch. Again, thank you so much. Hopefully I didn't mess much the rules or anything, because I had to keep an eye on the technical aspect of the stream. And again, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you later.